guys, and welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to be making a spinach and cheese quiche that's delicious. It's perfect for a brunch. It's really good any time of the day, but especially if you're cooking a brunch, you're hosting a brunch and you don't know what to make, this is a definite crowd pleaser, and it's super simple to make. Let me take you over the ingredients and we're going to get started. We need about half a pound or 8 ounces of baby spinach that I've rough chopped. 8 ounces of feta and full-fat ricotta cheese. Make sure that you're using full-fat cheese. If you substitute for some low-fat variety, I cannot promise you that it's going to taste anything like it should. We need some eggs, salt, pepper, dry dill. I'm using dry dill because I don't have fresh dill right now. If you were to be using fresh dill, I would do like a handful, like a small little bunch of dill, chop it up fresh, and it'll be fine. I have some chopped up scallions, a little bit of olive oil, and 1 sheet of thawed puff pastry. I love using puff pastry. I've used it many times on my show, and this is another great way to use it as a pie shell or a quiche shell. So what I'm going to do is begin by making, I'll move this out of the way for now, and you also need a 10-inch deep pie dish. Okay, that's that. I'm going to roll my dough out later on. Let me put everything together. Now, I have chopped up spinach over here. And to that, I'm going to add my scallions that I've chopped up very small. And I'm going to show you, this is a scallion, right? You need 3 of these, 3 or 4 of these. You can find the recipe on www.dimitrasdishes.com. And on there, I have the exact measurements. Okay, you guys? I know I get a lot of emails. Where are the recipes? They are on the website. This is just my channel to demonstrate, so it could be really easy for you to make. And then when you go on my website, you'll find another copy of the recipe with all the measurements on there. So when you chop the scallion, we're using scallions because they're very mild in flavor. You don't want to cut the white part. The white part is really strong. It's not a really nice mild flavor. You want to get up to the light green parts and leave this part composted, leave it for soup, feed it to your chickens, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I have my scallions chopped up, and then you want to make sure that you soak them in water so whatever grit is and dirt is stuck inside of them. Okay, a tablespoon of dried dill. I love dill, it smells so good. And it's one of those herbs that tastes really good dried as well as fresh. You know, there are some herbs that really aren't that good, you know, when you don't use them fresh, but dill is not one of them. It's super, super delicious, dried or fresh. Okay, I'm going to put my cheeses in here. Again, you want to use real full-fat cheese. If you substitute it, I promise it won't taste good. I don't like low-fat cheese. I don't like low-fat milk. I once went over somebody's house and they served me tea with fat-free half and half. Still to this day, I can't figure out what that is, but it tasted gross. So use the real stuff. It makes a huge difference. So now you just want to use your clean hands. Let me take my ring off. Stuck. There it is. So you want to use your clean hands and mix this all up. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil, just about 1/3 cup. Some black pepper to suit your taste. If you like a lot of black pepper, go ahead, put a lot of black pepper. If you don't like too much, just put a little. And since the salt, feta cheese is already salty, I'm just going to put about 1/2 teaspoon of salt in here. And I'm going to wait to put the eggs in last because I'm going to taste this one time to see if it needs more salt. I'm going to mix this up again. Now I'm going to take my eggs and just beat them in this bowl. Why dirty another one, right? Just 3 eggs, beat them all up. So that way once they go in, all you have to do is give it a little mix and then it'll be ready to go. Pour them in here. Just mix this all up. All right. So puff pastry comes in the frozen section in the supermarket. You want to make sure when you're using it for this recipe, you thaw it out, and it's pretty much at room temperature. And they usually come in rectangular shape. So we're just going to roll it out until it's a square. So you want to roll out your puff pastry into a square. About 14 inches is fine. And then take your pie plate, fold it in half, put it in here. That's it. It's so simple. It does not get simpler than this. Now you just want to pour all of your filling in here. My oven is preheated at 400 degrees. And we are literally just going to pop this in the oven and let it cook for an hour. And in an hour, it's going to puff up. The crust is going to get nice and golden brown. And it's going to be perfect and ready to serve. So you want to take all this extra dough that's hanging over your pie plate and just fold it in no special fancy manner, just like this. You just fold it and tuck it, and you're kind of making a beautiful little crust. You don't have to get fancy because this is a nice rustic quiche and it just looks really pretty like this. You don't have to crimp it or do anything like that. You can if you want to be my guest, but I've made this so many times. It looks beautiful just the way it is. I always like to put my pie plates in a half sheet pan. It makes it easy to stick in and out of the oven. Again, my oven is preheated at 400 degrees. I'm going to cook this for about an hour until my filling, it's going to fluff up a little bit. It's going to get nice and golden on top, and the whole crust of my puff pastry is going to get nice and golden brown, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. All right, so I popped that one in the oven, and you notice, no, my plate did not change colors in the oven. I made an extra one. I'm making two. I'll save the other one for later. I'm having guests over. I'll serve that one to my guests. And me and my kids are going to have this for lunch right now. So I put this in before we started making it. So just like YouTube magic, it just came out and it's completely ready. This is what it's going to look like. It gets nice and brown and beautiful all around. And then the filling gets a nice golden color. It fluffs up much more than this, but make sure you don't cut into it as soon as it comes out the oven. Let it set for about 15 minutes so that way all the juices can kind of redistribute and it's going to get nice and set. Otherwise, once you're cutting it, it'll all fall apart and it'll be a big mess. So I'm going to cut into this and show you how perfect and delicious this is. I mean, puff pastry, I love it. I've used it for so many different recipes. And see this? It makes a beautiful crust and it's so easy. So make sure you always have at least one pack in your freezer. Okay, I'm going to take this out. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Tell me that does not look delicious. And if you could smell it, my God, it smells so, so good. You could smell the dill and even the spinach. Spinach has a really delicious smell. Go on the website. Go on www.dimitrasdishes.com. I have lots and lots and lots of recipes. Watch my other shows. Make this. I'd love to hear your comments and see even pictures of how your quiche has turned out. Go on www.dimitrasdishes.com. And I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Man, this is super good.